Okay. So yesterday, like we started looking into how to identify the elements on a web page, how to locate the elements on a web page, and we have seen these 6 ways initially. Okay, there are a total of like 8 ways. One is using ID, using name, using class name, link text, partial link text, tag name, XPath, and CSS selector. Okay, okay. So out of these 8 ways, we have seen up to tag name. In today's class, we'll look into this XPath and CSS selector. Okay, okay. So how do we write the XPath? Okay, the basic way of writing an XPath is, let me show you this one. Where is this one? Yeah, so yeah, so I'm creating a new class here. Okay, I'm just saying and I'm using main method in this one and finish. Okay, so let me copy this one, system.set property until this line. Okay, so we are setting the property first. Okay, and then we are creating an object for Chrome and we are maximizing it and we are opening this URL http:// Selenium practice /index. Okay, so now have you practiced these ones yesterday?
Yes, Subbu.
Okay, fine. Yeah, okay. This one is, let me refresh. Okay, fine. Now let me, I would like to write an XPath for this text box and enter some value into this one. Okay, let me inspect this one. Okay, and I'm going into this and I'm moving it down. Okay, so we have like an ID, name, and class name, all these attributes we have. Okay, for writing an XPath, basically, let me get my pen. Okay, yeah, and okay. How do we write an XPath? Basically, XPath, it will start with 2 forward slashes. Okay, and then we will use the tag name, and in square brackets we will use @ symbol, and we will use some attribute and its value. For example, if I use ID attribute, ID equals to its value. Okay, so this is how we write basically an XPath. Okay, we use 2 forward slashes and then tag name @ attribute equals to that attribute value. Okay, so instead of writing this one, so I'll write it like this. Okay, tag name @attribute, any attribute you can take. Okay, attribute equals to, okay, that attribute value, this attribute value. Okay, this is how we write an XPath. Okay, let me write an XPath for this one. Okay, this text box has this ID first name. Okay, let's use this ID property. So how do we write an XPath for this one? What is the tag name for this one? The tag name is input. Okay, the tag name is input. Okay, so we will write it like sorry, not this one, 2 forward slash tag name is input, right? So we'll use input. Okay, and then what is the attribute that we would like to use? We would like to use ID attribute, ID. Okay, and what is the value for that ID attribute? It is first name. Okay, this is the basic way of writing an XPath. Okay, so let me go here. Okay, and we can test XPaths also. Okay, how to test the XPath? In this one, once you are in this, once you open this one, right click and inspect. Okay, this one elements section opens. Okay, once you open this one, just click on anywhere in this one. Just click on anywhere. Click on anywhere in this one and Control F. Okay, you will see this search bar here at the bottom. Okay, but you have to click on this one. You have to click on this one and then you have to use Control F. Okay, now let's write the XPath for this one. 2 forward slashes, and what is the tag name for this one? It is input. Okay, 2 forward slashes input. Okay, and then use square brackets and at the rate id would like to use the id attribute. So id equals to, in single quotes, use the id attribute value. So first name. Okay, and then close the square brackets. So now you can see that it is showing like 1 of 1. Are you able to see it? Because I cannot zoom in this one.
It's visible.
Okay, so to forward slashes input at the rate id is equal to first name. You can see that this line is highlighted in yellow color. Okay, and also when once you click on like enter button, you can see that element is also highlighting. If you see, this element is also highlighting here once you press on enter button. Okay, I'm pressing enter button. Okay, so that element is also identifying. So this is the basic way of writing an XPath. Okay, so now let me use this one in the program. Okay, now I'll say what is the method that to find an element? Driver dot find
Find
element.
any.
Okay, find element, and for XPath we have to use by dot XPath. Okay, by dot XPath. Now copy this one, copy this XPath that we have written, Control C. Okay, and in this one in double quotes, okay, use this one. Okay, then since this is a text box, we will use send keys method. Okay, okay, so I'm saying using basic XPath. Okay, and now I'm just waiting for 2 seconds. Okay, so 2000 milliseconds. So let me add the throws declaration. Okay, and then I'm using the same thing again and I am clearing this one. Okay, I'm using the clear method. Okay, and again I'll wait for 2 seconds after this. Okay, now let me run this one, run as Java application. It opened the page, it entered using basic XPath, and after 2 seconds it cleared this one. Okay, let me use uh, this thread.sleep here also. Okay, after opening this page, it waits for 2 seconds and then it enters this text using basic XPath and then equals to this one. Okay, and then it clears that one. Okay, let me run this one, run as Java application. Okay, it opened this one and it entered using basic XPath, and then after 2 seconds it cleared that one. Okay, so this is how you write a basic XPath. Basic XPath is we have to use the tag name. Okay, 2 forward slashes and then tag name, and in square brackets we write at the rate attribute equals to that attribute value. Okay, okay, now let us see, let's use a different attribute. So here we have used id attribute. Let's write it using name attribute. Okay, so at the rate 2 forward slashes input at the rate name equals to, again of course the name attribute is also same, first name. So once you see this one, you can see like 1 of 1, that means one element is found, and if you press enter, you can see that the value is highlighted. Okay, so let me this is Okay, using ID property. Okay, using name property. Okay, so I'm just copying the same thing again. Okay, and I'm using name equals to. Okay, using basic XPath with ID property. Okay, and here I'm saying with name property. Okay, let me take out this one. Okay, let me run this one. Run as Java application. Okay, so first it opened. So using ID property, it entered the value and then it cleared that one. And again with name property, it entered that value. Okay, so similarly, okay, well, what is the other one that we have? We have a class value also. Class is equal to beautiful text box. So you can use this one as well. So at the rate input, and I will use at the rate class equals to, okay, and here beautiful beautiful text box. Okay, so if I use this attribute also, you can see that it is highlighted in yellow color, and also once you type, once you press enter, you can see that this one is getting highlighted. Okay, so if I use the same thing using class property, okay, so I can take this same thing that I have created and I can use this one. Class property. Okay, run as Java application. Okay, so Chrome browser is open and first it enters with ID property and then it clears that one, and then it enters with name property, it clears that one, and then it enters with class property. Okay, so this is how we can write a basic XPath. Two forward slashes, tag name in square brackets at the rate that attribute equals to attribute value. Okay, now what is the next one? Like, we have, like, multiple ways of writing these XPaths. Okay, and then yeah, so using and condition. Okay, using under condition, that means we can combine, like, multiple XPaths for a particular element, and we can use this under condition and we can identify a particular element. So how to write that one? For example, in this one I have this text box. Okay, here I have, like, first name, and let's verify the others also. Okay, so here it is red. Okay, let me write it, like, using this first one. If you see this one, okay, we have ID as first name as first name, class is equal to beautiful text box. I would like to write an XPath, like, which identifies this element based on these two properties, like name and class, or ID and class attributes. Okay, so how to write that one? So for that one, first we will use two forward slashes, tag name, and then in square brackets at the rate ID. Let me take ID equals to first name, and I also would like to use the other attribute, which is class attribute. So I'll say and property here, and okay, and class equals to beautiful text box. Somewhere something went wrong. Beautiful text box. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. So if you see, I'm using an and condition here. Okay. And at the rate class is equal to beautiful text box. Okay. So we use two forward slashes input at the rate ID is equal to first name, and at the rate class is equal to beautiful text box. Okay. This is how you can use the value. And for example, like, if you have multiple text boxes with the same, one of the properties is same for all those things, but other properties are different. Okay. But in some of those other things, you have the second property, so you cannot identify the correct element. In those cases, we go with this and attribute, and then at the rate ID is equal to first name, and at the rate class is equal to beautiful text box. Okay, let me use this one. Okay, using and in XPaths. Okay, so let me copy this one. Okay, so I'll paste it here. Okay, I'll say using and in XPaths. Okay, and I am again using the same XPath, and I am clearing this one. Okay, let me comment all these things. Okay, so let us run this one. Okay, I'm using some time initially. Okay, let me run this one, run as Java application. It opened this one. Okay, now it entered using and in XPaths, and then it cleared that one. Okay, so that is how we can use and. Similarly, we can also use R in this one. So if you use R also in place of and, okay, that also works. That means it checks for the text box either with this one or this one, this property, ID property, or class property. So if I take the same thing, comment this one. So using R in XPaths. Okay, let me comment all these ones. Okay, and I will use R. Okay, let me run this one, run as Java application. Okay, so it enters the value. Sorry, it is using R in XPaths. Okay, let me update this one using R in XPaths. Okay, let me run it again. Run as Java application. Okay, it opened this one and it entered R in the text box using R in XPaths in the text box, and then it cleared that one. Okay, so this is how we can use R in XPaths. Okay, now let me let's see the next one. Okay, writing XPaths in regular expression. Okay, what is this one? Okay, regular expressions. Okay, let me copy this same thing. Okay, let me put it here and using regular expression. Okay, so in regular expression, instead of, okay, let me use this basic one, which is okay, this one. Okay, so in a normal XPath basic one, we use two forward slashes, tag name at the rate some attribute is equal to attribute value, right? So now in a regular expressions, instead of using the tag name, we use star. Okay, this is nothing but using regular expressions in XPath. So instead of using the tag name, we use star. Okay, what it means? What does it mean by using star? What happens is when we use the tag name, for example, in this one, we have used the tag name here. Okay, tag name. Okay, what happens is it checks the elements with starting with this tag name only. That means you have like 100 elements on your screen. Okay, but only 10 elements starts with tag name input. Okay, so in this case, it checks only those 10 elements that are starting with this tag name and with this particular attribute value, and it returns that element. But when you use regular expression in the name of, in the place of a tag name, it searches all the 100 elements on the page where this ID meets, this ID is first name, where this attribute is this value, first name. Okay, so in this case, if there are 10 elements on the page, it checks only those 10 elements for this attribute value, and it returns that one. Okay, in this case, it checks like all the 100 elements on the page where this attribute value, attribute is this attribute value. Okay, so this is the difference between these two. Okay, so since it checks, okay, and it not only returns the input tags only, whatever the element it matches, like, with this id is equal to first name, it returns that element. It can be a text box or checkbox or anything. Okay, and since it checks, like, all the elements on the page, it takes more time than this normal one. Okay, the regular expression XPaths take more time than the normal ones because it checks all the elements on the page. Of course, like, you cannot really see the difference when you execute this one, but generally this one, the regular expression XPaths take more time in finding the element because it has to search all the elements on the page with that particular attribute. Okay, so now let me run this one using regular expressions. Okay, let me run this one, run as Java application. So it opens the page, and after 2 seconds it enters using regular expressions in okay, using regular expressions, and then after 2 seconds it clears that one. Okay, so this is how you can use regular expressions in an XPath. Now let us see the next one, which is, yeah, contains keyword. Okay, contains keyword. Okay, so contains means, like, instead of using that whole attribute value, okay, we can use contains keyword. For that contains keyword, what we have to do is we'll use again the same name, the same thing, tag name. Okay, and then we use here contains keyword. Okay, contains keyword. Okay, and here we use at the rate that attribute, at the rate attribute, and we use comma here because we are not using, like, that whole thing here. Okay, we use a part of that attribute value, part of attribute value. Okay, so if we use the whole attribute value, then we go with, like, equals to at the rate that attribute equals to that attribute value. But if we want to search an element only with part of that attribute value, then we use contains keyword, contains at the rate attribute, okay, comma, part of that attribute value. Okay, let me let's do this one. Okay, let's search for this one, like, inspect. Okay, here it is like a red text. Let me search this one. Okay, so we have a class here. Okay, we have id name with, like, first space name. Id is first space name, and class is tb border space tb background, something. Okay, something we have here. Okay, so we can use, like, part of this string. Let's write, like, something using this class and contains keyword. Okay, so I'll use two forward slashes input. Okay, and we would like to, okay, I'm opening and closing the square brackets, so I would like to write for this one. Okay, so where class contains tb border. Okay, so now if I go here, I use contains keyword, and in normal brackets we'll say at the rate class, comma, at the rate class, comma, tb border. Okay, So slashes. Okay, con is missing. Okay, so this is what we have written. Okay, let me copy this one. Okay, let me paste it here. Okay, so okay, so this is what we have written. Two forward slashes, the tag name, and then square brackets contains keyword, and in normal brackets we use at the rate that attribute. The attribute that we are taking is class here, and part of that attribute TB border. This is what we are using here. So if you see TB border, okay, so and it is able to identify this element. Okay, let's use this one. Okay, let me copy this one, Control C, and then I'm commenting this. Okay, using contains XPath. Okay, so let me copy this XPath here. Okay, contains TB border, and I'll just say using contains keyword. Okay, and in this one, I'll say this one. Okay, so let me run this one, run as Java application. Okay, now you can see that in this third one, it entered using contains keyword, and then after 2 seconds, okay, so this is how we can use contains keyword. Okay, contains is used whenever you know only the partial text and not the full text, the full attribute value. Okay, only when you want to use the partial attribute value, then you can use contains keyword. Okay, so let us see.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
if TB border is available in any other class name with another text, how does it work actually?
So if we have like more than one element containing the
More
same
than
text.
one with the same contains
Yeah,
keyword, which is like TB border.
yeah. So it gets like all the for example, like let me show you an example here. Okay, so if you see this one has
Yeah.
input name is equal to first. Okay,
Mm.
but the same thing is also there. Okay, in this one also, if you inspect the first one, it also has first, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so in this case, it returns the two elements. Okay, let me show you this one. Okay, yeah. So here, if you see right now, it is only one of one. It has identified one element out of these two. Let me
Oh,
change
yeah.
this one to okay at the rate ID. Okay, and I am using first here.
Mm.
FIRST. Okay, see, it identified six elements, one of six.
Okay.
Okay, so there are six elements in this one, and the first one is this one. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and if you put your or mouse pointer like a cursor here, okay, and then press enter, it goes to the next element, that is the second element. And if you press enter, see, this is the third element, and if you press enter, this is the fourth element. If you press enter, that is the fifth element. If you press enter again, this is the sixth element. Okay,
Mm.
you can see that like six of six, and again if you press enter here, it again goes to first element. So like that it goes, but in the script what happens is it always takes the first element.
Okay.
Okay, let me show you this one. I'm copying the same thing. Okay,
Mm.
and in this one I'm using, instead of this class contains this one, I'm using
Mm.
class contains ID, sorry, not class, but ID attribute contains
ID
first.
content as first.
Okay, now if I run this one, it enters
Mm.
in the first element only.
Okay.
Okay, so it entered in the
Mm.
first element. Okay, there are
Okay.
there are there are other ways. There are like two ways in this one where if you
Mm.
want to enter this value in a different element,
Mm.
not in the first one. Okay, for
Okay.
that one we have to use something called indexing.
Okay.
Okay, in HTML indexing always starts with one. Okay,
Okay.
okay. So if you
If
want
it
to,
is Java, we got a zero as
yeah,
in arrays, it's zero, but in HTML, it's one.
yes, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we have seen this one, right? Okay, so two forward slashes input contains @ID, comma, first. Okay, this is
Mm.
this is working like sorry, this is okay, okay. This is getting the first element, but you don't want this first element. You want to get the next element. So in those cases, okay, we have to use
Mm.
indexing, and the indexing is okay. We'll just we'll put it in a bracket, and then we will use square brackets, and we will mention the value here. For example, you can mention it here as 2. In this case, it gets the next element. Okay, let me show you that one in this. Okay, so here it has identified the first 6 elements. Okay, so in this one the first one is that this is the first one and this is the second one. Okay, Uh, okay, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and again the first one. So you would like to get this element, would like to get this element. So in those cases, what we can do is just put it put it in a bracket. Okay, I'm putting it in a bracket, and then I'm using square brackets, and then I'm putting the value 2. See, now it has identified only the second element here, 1 of 1. Okay, and if you press enter, it identified only the second element, not all the 6 elements, because we have used indexing. For example, if you use 1 here, okay, so sorry, again it is identifying in a different frame also, but that is fine. Okay, we'll see about this. These are in different frames actually. Okay, fine. Okay, so this is how we can use indexing. Okay,
Mm.
we can use indexing also. Okay, okay, we have seen an indexing here itself. So it should be somewhere in this one. Yeah, we're using indexes there here. Okay.
Okay, it
So
comes up later.
yeah,
Okay, that's fine.
yeah, but this is nothing but indexing. Okay, you can put it in brackets, and then you can use square brackets and put the number to which element you would like to enter this one for. So if I copy this one, okay, so it entered only in the first place, right? First text box. So if you use okay, Control V. Okay, now if I run this one, it enters the value in the second matching element. The second matching element is the third text box in this one. Okay, so it entered in this one instead of this first one. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, now let's go into the next one using contains keyword. Okay, and we can also use starts with. Starts with means if some value is if some attribute value is starting with a particular name, then we can use this starts with. Okay, now let me show you this one. So let us say okay, contains and starts with is there, right? Let me inspect this one. Okay, so we have something called class more XPaths is there. Okay, here the class is starting with more. Okay, so in this case, I can use two forward slashes. Okay, so this one text contains and starts with. Okay, yeah, so more XPaths, right? Uh, so the tag name is input here. So two forward slashes input. Okay, and we can use starts hyphen, sorry, starts hyphen with, okay, starts hyphen uh, start hyphen with, and then in the normal brackets we use at the rate class comma and more. Okay, so we can use this one. Are you able to see this one? Because I cannot maximize this particular section. I can do this one by going into zoom in, but I cannot zoom in this one.
It's visible.
It's visible.
Okay, you're able to see it, right? Okay, so input starts hyphen with at the rate class more. Okay, so here it is starting with more. Okay, so I can use this one. Similarly, I can, if I use the ID, so it is returning only one of one. But if I use some ID here at the rate ID, and if it is starting with first, okay, see it is returning two elements here. The two elements are, okay, first one is this one and second one is this one. First one is this one, second one is this one. Okay, so I can use starts with at the rate class and then okay more. Okay, see I have written here see you can use this particular element to practice with contains and starts with. Okay, so let me use this one. Paste it here. Let me copy this whole thing. Okay, and then let me use this XPath starts with here. Okay, so starts with at the red class more using starts hyphen with. Okay, let me run this one. Run as Java application. Okay, so it entered using starts with keyword. Okay, and then it cleared that one. Okay, now similar to starts with, we have ends with is also there, but ends with is not working at this moment. I mean, it's not, I don't know, I mean, even from the last 2 years, last 2 or 3 years, it was not working. But let me show you that one, that XPath, I think XPath, you can find it. Yeah, for example, we have, yeah, this one, the same one, it is ending with XPaths, right? This class property. So I will use, instead of starts with, I will use ends with at the rate class, and I'll say XPaths. Okay, yeah, it's not working. This XPath itself is not working, first of all. But there is something called ends hyphen with. Okay, but at this moment, it is not working. Okay, now the next one is okay, ends with okay, we have seen this one, and finding an element using parent-child relationship. Okay, so here the thing is, let us say I have this is identifying the siblings. Okay, parent-child relationship. Okay, so I have these different text boxes are there. Okay, in this one I have monthly amount, quarterly amount, semi-annual amount, and annual element. Let's say these are four different text box. Okay, I would like to enter some value in any of these. Okay, so if I inspect this one, okay, see what is there here? What is there here? There is no particular attribute for this one. If you see, there is no ID attribute, or there is no class attribute, there is no name attribute, nothing is there. Okay, if you want to enter something into this field, okay, let us see, this second one. Yeah, so second one also. So like this, for any of these elements, okay, there is nothing is there, no attribute is there. We have type is equal to text is there. But if you use text, okay, you can do in one way is you can identify it by using text, and you can use indexing for this one. For example, let's say I write an XPath here using two forward slashes input, okay, and then I can use a type equals to text. Okay, and what are the number of elements that we got? See, we have 41 elements in this one. 41. Okay, and if I want to enter a value into this particular thing, okay, I can use the indexing here. Okay, for example, to find out the indexing, let me go here. Okay, and 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I can use 7 here. So if I use it something like, okay, 7, it works. See, it is able to identify the element and it is only one of one. We can do it using indexing, but generally, like, when we have like a large number of elements, okay, so if you're okay, here in this case, it is almost like 40 plus elements, right? So in those cases, we won't go for this indexing, but we'll see the other ways. So instead of writing it like this, what we'll do is for this one, if you see this element, okay, let me go here. Okay, so this element is inside this table data element. Okay, this is inside this table data element. So this element is a child element for this TD. Similarly, TD is a parent element for this input element. And if you see, this parent element has an ID attribute monthly amount. Okay, so in those cases, what we do is we first identify this parent element and then we can identify the child element. Okay, so how we can do it is, first let's identify this parent element. So how do we identify this parent element? The tag name is TD, right? So we write it using 2 / TD at the rate ID is equal to monthly amount. Okay, let's identify this one. 2 / tag name is TD and at the rate ID equals to, okay, see, I am able to identify this TD element. Okay, but even though it is showing you like, it is highlighting that element, is not actually highlighting the actual text box. It is highlighting the TD element. So you cannot use this directly. Okay, you have to identify this inner element, which is input. Okay, so in those cases, we identify the parent element first and we'll identify the child element for the parent element. So to identify the child element, first we write the XPath for this parent element, and then here we use one forward slash, and then we use the child tag name input. Okay, now if you see, you are getting like, 1 of 1. Okay, so this is how we will write we'll identify an element using parent child relationship. Okay, so how do we say that like an element is a child element of another element? That element should be inside that other element. If you see this table data, and this table data is closing here, okay, and this input element is within this table data element. So this is a child element for this one. So now since the parent element has an ID attribute, we can identify the parent element first and then we can identify the child element using one forward slash. And this is called parent-child relationship. Okay. Let me use this one, parent-child relationship in this one. Parent-child relationship. So let me copy this whole XPath. Yeah, let me copy this whole thing. Okay, let me copy this XPath and put it here. So we use this parent-child relationship in a lot of cases in Selenium. Okay, parent-child relationship. Okay, let me run this one. Run as Java application. Okay, so in the monthly amount it entered using parent-child relationship and then it cleared that one. Okay, got this one? Are any questions in this one? Okay, fine. Yeah. Okay,
If
so
you have to go inside this, like there will be more childs for the same parent
then we will go with the XPath, I mean indexing.
Okay.
Okay, we'll use indexing for that. Yeah, that happens. Like we will see like more child elements under a parent element. Then we will go with the indexing in that one.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Now,
And Sibyl,
yeah,
all these that we are using XPath is like finding a particular element
yeah,
and try to add a value for our testing. Is
yeah.
that right? Like
Yes,
in the
yes, yeah.
scripting?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Basically, like we have 8 ways of identifying an element, as we have seen. Like it is by using ID,
Yes.
by using name attribute, by using tag value, link text, partial link text, all these things, right? So,
Yeah.
but the thing is that yeah, most of the times the elements may not have these values like ID attribute, name attribute, or even though you have class attribute, but classes will have like with multiple classes we will have under one, like we have with spaces, class names with space. In those cases, like class name won't work. Okay, so you cannot like expect these ID all these attributes for all the elements. So in those cases, like we go with XPaths, and moreover, once you prepare an XPath, you can test that one. Okay, that is
Okay.
why
That's why XPath is very popular
yeah,
in usage rather than, I
yes,
mean, we can definitely find something to find
yes,
element
yes,
using the XPath rather than going for the
yeah,
traditional basic ways of
exactly,
other seven.
yes,
Okay.
exactly. Okay, and within XPath itself, like we have these multiple
There
ways.
is,
There are like around
mm,
15 ways of like how you write an XPath, and in interviews, definitely like people will ask you questions on this XPath. How do you write an XPath using parent-child relationship? For example, they'll give you a small
mm,
code, HTML code,
mm,
and they will ask you,
mm,
okay, how do you write an XPath for this one? Okay, then you have
okay.
to identify, okay, whether it is does it has any attribute? No, it doesn't have any attribute. Okay, does
Mm,
the parent element have any attribute? Yes, the parent element has an attribute. Then you can say that, okay, since like the parent element has an attribute value here, first I will identify the parent element, and using parent child relationship I'll identify the child element, and this is the XPath for this one. They will ask you to write the XPaths.
mm,
Okay, okay, so this is for parent child relationship. Okay, now let us see the next one, parent child relationship. Okay, following, okay, we have something called following hyphen siblings and preceding hyphen siblings. Okay, so what are siblings? Siblings means the ones like which are at the same level. Okay, in the HTML code, they are called siblings. Okay, let me show you an example here. So yeah, siblings, right? Okay, if you okay, so I have given like something here for your practice, which is this one. Let's say I have some enter amounts, and I have like 10 amounts under this one. Okay, I have 10 amounts under this 12 amounts. First month amount, second month amount, like that. And let us check this one. Let's inspect one of these. Okay, so these are not siblings actually. Use it in siblings. Just give me 1 second. Okay, we can do it like first month amount. Why did I write this one as sibling? I'm not sure. Okay, fine. Okay, I think I got it. Okay, so if you see, like, we have a table here. Okay, we have a table here. Okay, see, it is highlighting the table. Okay, first month amount, second month amount, everything is there in that table. Okay, now I have this table, and now I have different. I have a table body under this one. Under this table body, I have multiple table rows. Multiple table rows I have, and I would like to. Okay, all these table rows, they are at the same level. Okay, they are not inside the other. Okay, all these are under table body itself, but these are at the same level if you see. Okay, so these are all called like siblings. Siblings means like if you have like brothers and sisters, they are all your siblings, right? I mean, like they are all siblings you have, and within this one, okay, all these previous ones. Let's say I have this element. This ID is equal to sixth amount is there, right? So I have this one. Okay, this one. Okay, we have some elements above this sixth amount and some elements below this one, and these above ones are called preceding siblings for this one, and these below ones are called following siblings for this one. Okay, suppose you have some elder brothers. Okay, they are all your preceding siblings. You have some younger brothers or sisters. Okay, they are all your following siblings. Okay, just that way. Okay, we have this one. Okay, these are all the preceding siblings for this one. These are all following siblings for this one. Okay, now let me show you this one. uh, okay, first I would like to enter some amount into this fifth amount. I want to enter some amount. So if I identify this one, okay, if I right click on this one and enter this, okay, I have something called like something this one. Okay, but there is no attribute for this one. Okay, but if you see here, we have something called like one row here, which is the sixth row. Sixth amount is there. Okay, so what I can do, I can identify this element first, and then I can go to this preceding sibling, and then I using parent-child relationship, I can come to this value. Okay, let me show you that one first. Okay, instead of like this one. Okay, so first let me identify this tr id is equal to sixth amount. Okay, so I'll say tr shift at the rate id equals to. Okay, so first I have identified this sixth element. Now using this sixth element, okay, sixth table row element, I will come to this fifth one. Okay, since this is a preceding sibling, I have to use forward slash preceding preceding hyphen sibling colon table row. Okay, if you see this one, it is identifying the first element in this one. Okay, table row. Okay, so in this one you have to actually come to this one, which is the fifth one. So I will use, sorry, yeah. Okay, so if you see this one, tr of 1. Okay, see, for this sixth element, this is the first preceding sibling, and again this is the second preceding sibling, this is third preceding, fourth preceding, fifth preceding sibling. Okay, so I will use this one 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, since I want to get into this fifth row, okay, I will use in brackets 1. Okay, now I can use parent-child relationship in this one. Okay, so I have to get into this second one, second table data element. So if I use like slash table data, okay, I'm identifying two elements here. Okay, one is this one and the second one is this one. So again I will go with, okay, indexing here, which is 2 indexing, and then I will go for again parent-child relationship forward slash input. Got this one? Or any questions? Okay, let me copy this one and show it to you here. Are you able to see this one? Okay. So first I am identifying one of these elements, which is table row at the rate ID is equal to sixth amount. Okay. So first I have identified this one, this sixth month amount, this row I have identified because we have an ID for this one. So now using this one, I will go into the preceding sibling table row. So I will use / preceding -sibling, and I have to use 2 : here. Okay. And then tr. Okay. So I have, for this one, I have 5 preceding siblings. Okay. So this one will become the first preceding sibling. This one will become second, third, fourth, fifth. So I have used the indexing here, tr of 1. Okay. And once I go into this one, okay, once I go into this one, I have 2 child elements here. So how to go into the 2 child elements? One single / and the tag name. So one single / and then the tag name is td. But since we have 2 table data elements here, again I am using indexing here, indexing for this one to go into the second one. Again, under this second one, I have this input tag. So I'm coming to this input tag. Do you understand this one, or any questions? Everyone?
So if it is like 100% sure that we will be having some something where ID will be present in this, or
No, not ID. Okay, I gave you an example with ID here. There might be some other element, some other attribute
yeah.
that you
So
may get.
any event, other
Anything.
element will be
Just like using a normal XPath, how you find it? Just like that, you find this one. See, if you see this one, until this point, it is just a normal XPath, right, for finding an element.
yeah. So for this only, I'm asking that whether it will be possible in some chance that it will be
There,
not
there, there
present, or
can there can there can be anything, like you can have a name attribute here, or you can use like a class attribute here, or you can you can use contains and then ID, 2 / table row. Okay, contains, you can use contains. Okay, and then at the rate ID, comma sixth, you can use this one, and then you can use preceding -sibling.
okay,
Okay, any way you can write this one, just not like this.
okay.
Okay, you have to identify that element first. Okay,
So that
and
element will be present. It is 100% sure. It is not a chance that no element will be present where no attribute will be there. Like in fifth element,
no,
sixth, fourth element.
if it is not there, then you will go with other way of identifying the elements. See, we are
Okay.
we, we are seeing like 15 different ways here in this one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yes.
sometimes this sometimes you use this siblings concept. Sometimes you
Okay.
use parent-child concept. Sometimes you use contains keyword. Okay, sometimes you use this contains keyword and siblings concept.
Okay. Okay. Got it.
Just to practice these ones first, and you can identify almost any element on the page using XPaths. All these are all the different ways.
Okay. Sure.
Okay, now I have got this one. Okay, so let me copy this one. Let me use it here. Okay, let me put it here. See, here we have used siblings concept as well as parent-child relationship also we have used. Okay. Using preceding siblings. Okay. So now, okay, now let me run this one. Run as Java application. Okay. So it entered here. Okay. And just remember this one. This is the sixth one, right? So the preceding siblings add. Okay. If you think this one as 0, Okay, 0. Then these ones will follow like this 1. Everything, these are called following siblings. Above ones are called preceding siblings. These are following siblings. Okay. Similarly, for following siblings also.
Just Subbu, if you don't mind, could you explain the preceding one again to go to the fifth element
Sure,
again?
sure.
Thank you.
I'll do that one. Okay. So, okay. So you have something like this. Okay.
Yeah.
You have something like this, and you want to enter something into this element. This fifth amount you want to enter. Okay. So if you inspect this one, so you have some, you are coming to this point. Let me remove this one. Okay. You are coming to this point. Okay. But if you see this one, okay, you don't have like, any ID attribute or anything like this. Okay, there is one more way of writing this one. We can identify using this text value. We can enter this value, but since this is the preceding siblings concept, I'm trying to explain it using the siblings concept. Okay, okay. Now we don't have any ID or any attribute here. Anything. Okay, so how to identify this element? Okay, if you see this one, yeah, fine. Okay, we don't have anything here. We don't have anything. So how to identify? If you see this one, there is one row which some ID
Okay.
is sixth amount. This is there, but this one, this is another row. This is the previous row. Okay, this is the previous row that we have. Okay, so what we can do, we can identify this element first. Okay, we can identify this row first, and using this row, since this is the fifth row, this element is in the fifth row. This fifth row is nothing but the preceding sibling for this one. Okay,
Yeah.
see, these both are at the same level. These both are at the same level. These are not inside like this element or something. These are at the same level. Okay, so this one, for this one, all these previous elements, all these previous rows, they are preceding siblings. All these following ones, they are following siblings. Okay, so what we'll do is first we will identify this one, and then using this one, using preceding hyphen sibling concept, we will identify this row. Okay, now once we identify this one, then how to identify this input element? Again, we will go with parent-child relationship. Okay, so we identify this table data element, and then we will identify this input element. How do we write the parent-child relationship? Using single slash. Okay, so for this one, if I try to identify this one first, okay, what is the tag name for this one? Tag name is TD. Okay, so I will write 2 / TD. Okay, and it is ID attribute. ID is equal to this one.
Okay.
Okay, sorry, is it ID? I think it's not. Let me go here. Sixth amount. Now why it is not writing? 2 / ID. Oh, sorry, it's not table data, it's table row, right? The tag name is table row. It's not table data. So table row. Okay. So now I have identified this one, right? See, yeah, I have identified this element. Now I have to come to this row first. So,
Yeah, preceding to the one. Yeah.
yeah. So I will use preceding hyphen sibling / preceding hyphen sibling. Okay, and then I have to use 2 colons here. I have used 2 colons, and what is the tag name for the preceding row? It is again tr. Okay, but it is going to the first element, so I have to use indexing here. So the indexing is 1. Okay, see, for this one, this is the first preceding sibling, this is the second preceding sibling, this is the third preceding sibling, fourth preceding sibling, fifth preceding sibling. Okay, the order goes in this way: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have used first number 1 to identify the immediate preceding element. That means this is the immediate preceding one. Okay, now I have identified this one. Okay, now I have to go into this table data element, right? In order to go to that, so I will use forward parent-child relationship here. Okay, / table data. But see, it has like two elements. It is identifying two elements. One is this one and one is this one. I need the second one, so I use indexing here. So I have used indexing. Okay, and again we have this child element under this table data. So I'll use one / and then input. Got it?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now let me. Okay, so we have seen this example, right? Okay. Now this is preceding sibling example. Now similarly, we have following sibling. Okay, so following sibling also. For example, I want to enter some value into this one. So first I identify this one. So instead of preceding sibling, I will use following -sibling : tr. And again, since this is the immediate following will become 1. This becomes 1. The first following sibling, second following sibling, third following sibling, fourth following sibling, fifth following sibling, sixth following sibling. So if I use following -sibling : tr of 1, and then I'm using table data, again parent-child relationship. This is the same for this one. Okay, you got it? This one. So the preceding ones are preceding -siblings. Then the following ones are from. If I want to enter like some value into the seventh month amount, I will use following -sibling : tr of 1. Okay. If it is fifth one, this one. Okay, let me run this one. Using following siblings. Run as Java application. Okay, so it entered into the seventh month amount. Got it? Are any questions on this one? Instead of using preceding sibling, we use following -sibling. That's all. Okay. Any questions here? Or do you guys understand this one?
I think after practice only it will get clear.
Yeah, yeah.
Mostly.
So just practice this one. Okay. Yeah. Now let me go into the next one. Okay, that is about following and following preceding sibling. Okay. Finding parent elements. Okay, let me. I think I have given an example here. Yeah, finding parent element. Okay, so okay, so let us say I have this one. Okay, I would like to enter some value into this first amount. Okay, so in this one, if you inspect this one, okay, so I have input type is equal to text. Again, I don't have anything here. Yeah, so I can use this element, or okay, let me see, finding parent elements. Enter amount. Yeah. Okay, fine. Yeah. Okay. So I would like to enter some amount into this one. But if you see, I don't have anything here. I don't have any attributes or anything here. Okay. But if you see here, I have some ID. Okay. So one thing like, what we can do, just now we have seen, I can identify this element. Okay, I can identify this element, and preceding hyphen sibling I can use for going into this table row and to identify this input tag. Right? I can do that one. Preceding hyphen sibling, I can identify this one, and then using preceding hyphen sibling, I can go into this one, and then I can enter this value. But in some cases, like this where like this works actually, but you may have to identify the parent element. Okay, so how do you identify the parent element here? Okay, first we'll identify this element. Okay, so table row shift @id equals to, so I have identified this element. Okay, so what is the parent element for this one? Can anyone tell what is the parent element for this one? What is the parent element for this one? Anyone?
Remove.
What is that?
Is it
Body.
enter?
Yeah, table body is the parent element for this one,
Okay.
because this is immediately under T body, right? Again, for T body, table is the parent element because it is under table, immediately under table, right? There are no elements in. But again, if you see for this table row, this table becomes the ancestor. Okay, just like a grandfather, ancestor. Okay, all the elements above this table body, above this parent, they are all nothing but ancestors. Okay, so this is, let's say this is your element. Okay, this table body, it is immediately above this table row, so this becomes the parent, table becomes the ancestor. All the again if you see, like above table we have some other elements. Okay, above table, like we may have other elements. If I see this one, okay, let me see. Okay, so this is again like becomes a sibling for this one. But above table, like if we have anything, they are all like ancestors for this table row. Okay, so the immediate one is, this is the parent element. Okay, let's identify this element, the first element, using this parent element. Okay, so first I have identified this one, table row id is equal to second amount. Let me identify this table body. How do we identify this parent element? Okay, just identify this element, put a forward slash and use parent. Okay, parent, again 2 colons. Okay, and t body. Okay, so it immediately identifies this parent element. Okay, once I identify this parent element, then I can use again parent child relationship here. Okay, so I can use forward slash table row again, but I am seeing like 6 here, 1 of 6. I would like to find the first one here. So what I will say, I will use indexing here, tr of 1. Okay, so again like I got 1 of 2 here. Let me see. Okay, because like I think I have like the same id for this one also. Okay, but we will be getting like the first one here. Okay, table row, and again I can use this one again, parent child relationship, forward slash table data of 2, so that I'll get it here, and then forward slash input. Okay, and again it is showing like 1 of 2. Finally I can use indexing here. This will be a little bit confusing here for you guys. Okay, but practice this one. Once you practice this one, then you will get it. Okay, you got this one. Just use, identify the element first and then use parent colon colon, okay, that element name, and you will be able to identify the parent element, and then again you can use parent child relationship to get to the particular element. Got it? Are any questions here? Okay,
It is clear.
okay, it might be a little bit confusing, but like just use practice these ones. Okay, these are all like the different ways of identifying XPaths. Okay, What's the time now? Okay, 7:21. Okay, I'll try to finish this XPaths and I will explain you one more time because this is a very important one, and tomorrow I will cover CSS selectors. Okay, okay. Now we have seen this parent element. So let me take this one. Okay, let me go here. Okay, finding parent element. Let me copy this whole thing. I'll say here it is finding parent element. Okay, let me run this one, run as Java application. Okay, so using that second amount row, it identified the first amount and it entered the value in this one. Okay, so this is how we can use parent element. We can find the parent and then we can use the text path to enter the values. Okay, this is about parent element. Okay, now ancestors, finding ancestors. Okay, we have already discussed like what is an ancestor. Okay, let me go here. Okay, finding ancestor elements. Okay, now let us say, let me inspect this one first. Okay, so I have this one. I have what are the different things that I have in this one? I have table row. Finding ancestor elements. So enter amounts, and we have something called enter amount. Let me see, like, what are the different things that we have in this one. So I have like two table datas, and then I have another table here. So I have first row and then second. Okay, so this is okay. This example is for finding ancestor elements. Okay, let us say I have table row here. Okay, so I would like to enter some amount into this enter name, not amount, but I would like to enter something into this enter name. Okay, but if you see this enter name, it doesn't have anything here. It's just like input type is equal to text. It doesn't have anything. I want to identify this one. Okay, but if you see here, like I have something called, okay, I have one row here which is id attribute. So what I can do here, first I can identify this table row, and I can identify this tr value using ancestor, because if you see for this tr, this t body is the parent, right? Everything else is an ancestor. So table is an ancestor, td is an ancestor, tr is an ancestor. Okay, so I can identify this tr, and again this tr is also an ancestor for this one. So I can identify this ancestor, and then using again the parent-child relationship from this ancestor, from this tr to this td input, I can identify this element. Okay, so first let's identify this one. Okay, let's identify this tr is equal to id is equal to second amount. Okay, so okay, so there are two values here. One is this one and one is this one. I would like to get this one, this second one. How do I get this one? See, it is showing like 1 of 2. If I use tr at the rate id is equal to second amount, but I want to get this one. Okay, under this finding ancestor element checkbox, and under finding ancestor element, I want to get this one. So how to get this one? It is showing 2. Anyone? How to get this second one? See, it is identifying if I use like tr id is equal to second amount, it is showing me like 2 of 2. I would like to get the second one. How to get it?
Like previously you have gone through parent, we will go through ancestor, I guess.
No. I have to use indexing here.
Okay.
I just used the indexing so that, okay, now I got this one, but I have to get this enter name, this one, right? So this one, okay. So if you see, I have identified this one, but I have to come to this one first for entering the name. Okay, so I can identify this as an ancestor. So I'll say /ancestor over ancestor colon. What is that ancestor? It is tr. Okay, but if you see, it went to the top actually. Okay, so I can use indexing again. Okay, so if I use tr of 1, okay, so for this element, for this row, this is the first ancestor because this is the first time it is found here in the ancestor row. So instead of like tr of 1, if I use tr of 2, okay, no, tr of 1, okay, I have identified this one, the first ancestor I have identified. Okay, and then for this tr, what is this one? This is again a preceding sibling, right? This is a preceding sibling, so I can use / preceding sibling table row of 1. Okay, so now I got this one. So now again I have to get into this table data. So this is again a child element, so I will use /table data, but again there are 2 in this one. I have to get into the second one, so I will use 2. Okay, and within this one I have to come to this input. You understand this one? It's a bit like confusing at this moment, but understand that like how we are finding the parents and how we are finding the ancestors. First we will find the XPath for that particular element, and if we want to find the parent element, then we will use /parent. If you want to find the ancestor, we'll use /ancestor, and then we'll use two colons. Okay, got this one? Or any questions? Okay,
I think it is clear.
yeah, I'll explain you like one more time, then like it will be easy for you. Okay, let me copy this one. Okay, sorry, this is ancestor, right? Let me change that one. Okay, this is using ancestor. It's not by finding parent element, but let's say it is finding ancestor. Okay, so this is how we can find the ancestor. Okay, let me see the other ones also. Okay, and then using the visible text. Okay, using visible text, how to find something using visible text. Okay, if you see this one, let us see like there is anything like that I have given using exact or partial text match, using normalized text match, using chained XPath, get attribute value get text. Okay, let me see what we can do here using visible text, how we can. Okay, let me see this one itself. Okay, so if we inspect this one, let us say I want to enter something into this one. Okay, I think I have already prepared this one, everything for you using XPath text. Let me see what example I have used here using exact text match. Okay, enter payment amounts for insurance. Okay, I think I have given some example here. Enter payment amounts somewhere oh yeah, so I have okay exact or partial text match. Okay, so let us say I have something like this. Okay, I want to enter some amount here using exact text or partial text match. I have this one. Okay, enter payment amount for insurance. Okay, I have to enter something some amount into this value, but if you see there is no attribute for this one, but we have a label here. Okay, using this label text I can identify this element, and then this input is a following sibling for this label, so I can use /following-sibling and I can identify this element. Okay, let me show you this one. Okay, so Control F to forward slashes. What is the tag name for this one? Anyone? What is the tag name for this one? This is nothing but label, right? LABEL. So I'll say two forward slashes label. Okay, and I don't have any idea for this one, so I can identify it based on this text. So for that one, what we have to do is we have to use text and then brackets equals to, in single quotes, this one. Okay, enter the text. So identify the label element where the text is this one. That's what it says. Okay, two forward slashes label. It for text it is not like we should not use at the rate. Okay, we should use text and then brackets equals to this text. Okay, now I have identified this one. Now how can I identify this input element? This is a following sibling for this one, right? So forward slash following hyphen sibling colon input. Okay, it has identified. You can use one or not, is not needed because there is only one input after this label, so I can directly use following hyphen sibling. Okay, let me copy this one. Using exact text match. Okay, let me copy this one. Let me paste it here. Okay, and enter some amount. I'm entering, let's say 10,000. I'm entering something. Okay, using exact text match. Run as Java application. Okay, so it entered the value 10,000 here and then it cleared that value. Okay, so if you want to use the exact text match, we have to use text equals to and the text. And it is this normal the tag name, and then we have to use text equals to this one. This is using exact text match. Okay, for example, if you want to use only the partial text match here. Okay, so here I have yeah, partial text match. So I would like to check with only enter text amount, enter payment amount, or amount for insurance I want to use. I don't want to use the full text here. So in those cases we can go with contains. Okay, so I can say contains. Okay, contains, and then instead of using equal to, we'll use comma here. Okay, and then for example, amount for insurance, this is what, like, I would like to go with. Okay, and then I can close this one here. Okay, so I can use contains comma text brackets. We used this one previously. Contains, like, if any of the attributes, if we want to find that element using a part of the attribute value, contains @id equals to @id comma amount class name comma that partial class name. Okay, similarly we use contains text comma this one. So this is with partial text match. That means using contains and text match. So if we use this one using contains and text match, partial text match. Okay, so if I use this one, okay, let me copy this one. Okay, so let me enter, like, 2000 here. 2000. Okay, let me run this one. Run as Java application. Okay, so it entered 2000 there. Okay, so this is with partial text match. That means using contains keyword. Okay, and the next one is partial text match, contains and visible text. We have seen this one, and we have seen what is the next example that we have? Yeah, so we have used index already. Okay, chained XPath. What is chained XPath? Okay, I think I have, like, something here. Yeah, chained XPath. Example is chained XPath. We have it here. Let us identify, like, let us verify this one. Okay, we have enter amounts. Okay, we have, yeah, this one is for chained XPaths, right? So I have this table under this chained XPath. Let me see. Using chained XPaths, so I have this one, and I have second amount table data first element. Let me identify, let me verify these ones individually. So using chained XPaths. I don't have any other. Okay, I have this table. I have. So under the enter amounts, I have this table. Okay, fine. Okay, so I have a table here. I would like to enter, like, something into this amount. Okay, so for this table, I have this ID. Okay, so let us identify this ID first. Okay, so this is the whole thing under this. Let's identify this ID for table first. Okay, so if I see this one, two forward slashes table shift @ID equals to, okay, I have identified this one, and I would like to enter some value into this input box. Okay, so but under this one, if you see, we have different we have a table body, we have a table row. Under the table row, we have table data. Under that one, we have this input. So chained XPath means, like, multiple XPaths combined. Okay, so I have identified this table ID. Now I can directly identify this input element. Okay, normally how do we go, how do we come here, how do we come to this input? Using parent-child relationship, right? First we'll identify this table body. Okay, T body. Okay, and then we'll identify this table row. Again, there are 3 table rows under this one. That's why it's showing 1 of 3. So out of this, I will identify the first one. Okay, I have identified the first one, and then I have to identify this table data. So I will use table data. But again, there are two in this one. I need this second one to come to this input. Okay, so I will say this is 2. Okay, once this is done, and then slash input. Okay, slash input. Okay, this is the parent-child relationship that we have seen. But chained XPath means I know that there are 3 input elements under this table. Okay, so instead of writing like all these things, what I can do is I can put like two double slashes, and I can write input. Okay, so I will directly come to this input tag, the text boxes. But again, there are 3 text boxes under this one. That's why it is showing 3. So if I want like only the first one, I can say 1. So okay, we have to use brackets every time you are using indexing. You better use brackets. Okay, and then 1. If I want the second one, I'll use 2. If I want the third one, I'll use 3. So instead of going with parent-child relationship, if we know exactly the element under that one with a particular attribute or something, then I can directly use 2 forward slashes, and then I can identify that element again, so that first it will come to this one. Okay, and then it will come to this one. Okay, any questions on this one? Chained XPath.
So it is an option to use either chain or either parent-child relationship,
Yeah,
right?
it's an option basically. Okay, sometimes we go with parent-child relationship. Sometimes we'll go with the chained XPaths. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Now normalize. What is this normalize? This one we use it very rarely, but you better know what this normalize is. Using normalize function with XPaths. Okay, let me show you this one. Using normalize. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Using normalize text match. Okay. So now let us say I would like to identify this text box. How do I identify? I have a label here. If you see, this is the label, payment amount that will be deducted. That is the label, right? I can use this label to identify this child element, text box, right? Because this input element is an immediate sibling, following sibling for this label, right? Okay, so let me write an XPath for this one. And okay, yeah, if you see this one, if you see, there are a lot of spaces between this. There are a lot of spaces, even though it is showing as no spaces here. If you actually verify this one, there are a lot of spaces under this one. Okay, like payment space 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 amount, and then 2 spaces that will be deducted. Okay, so like this. Okay, but if you see this one, let me identify this one. Okay, inspect. Okay, there are no spaces here. There are no spaces, but for this one there are. If you see, if you highlight that, if you double click on this one, it will show you the exact string. So there are a lot of spaces here. So if you for example, if you have something where this text is changing with the spaces, then you cannot use text equals to this exact match. Okay, for example, let me show you. Let me identify this one first. Okay, I'm copying this exact text. Okay, I'm copying this exact text. Okay, I'm coming here, and then 2 forward slashes label. Okay, how to find it with text equals to this one. And if you see here, you cannot find it because there are a lot of spaces around this one. Okay, see here you have 1 2 something, like here you have 1 2 3 4 spaces, and here you have 1 2 3 4 5 spaces you have, and again at the end also you have something 1 2 3 4 something like this. Okay, you have a lot of things here, a lot of spaces here. In those cases, to remove those extra spaces, we use a normalize function. Okay, let me show you this one, this normalize function. Okay, so we use label normalize hyphen space. This is what we have to use. So if you come here, okay, in this one, we'll use normalize hyphen space, and we'll put this entire thing into brackets, and we remove these extra spaces. We'll just provide only one space around this one. Okay, so okay, so this become like label, right? This is LABEL. I have written it as label. Okay, let's see. So label normalize hyphen space text equals to payment. Okay, let me remove this normalize hyphen space first, and okay, and let me copy this one. Somewhere it went wrong. Label normalize hyphen space payment amount that will be deducted. Something went wrong here. Let me see. Okay. Normalize 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 hyphen space text equals to. Oh, okay. Sorry, I have should normalize hyphen space. Yeah. Okay. So see this one, it has multiple number of spaces. Okay. For example, if your application is something like, okay, let's say each and every time the space is changing. This space, so sometimes you are getting like in one space, sometimes you are getting two space, or sometimes you are getting, this generally happens like, when you are having these white spaces around the string. Sometimes you may get like, here like, more number of white spaces or less number of white spaces, something like that. In those cases, what you can do is you can go for normalize hyphen space of text. Okay, you are saying that, okay, remove all those extra spaces and match it only with this one. Okay, so in those cases, let me copy this one here. Okay, let me copy this and I'll put it in here. Okay, if you see, we are saying normalize hyphen space of text. Okay, we are putting it in brackets and we are passing this one to normalize hyphen space. Okay, so what it happens is it takes the text and it removes all those extra spaces and white spaces also. Okay, trailing white spaces and the preceding white spaces, it removes all of them and it compares with just payment amount that will be deducted. Okay, if it is this one, okay, now it matches this one, payment amount that will be deducted. Now under this one, after that we have a input tag, so we can use here, we can use slash following hyphen sibling colon input. Okay, now we got this one. So this is how we can use normalize hyphen space function. Okay, this is to remove the extra spaces between the words. Okay, so these are around like 15 different ways of writing XPaths. Okay, and you need to be very like you need to practice like all these 15 different ways. Okay, to because people will definitely ask you, like they'll give you an HTML code and they'll ask you to write an XPath. Then you should be able to identify whether you can write it using parent-child relationship, or you can write it using preceding siblings or following siblings, or you can write it using finding the parent element, or finding the ancestors, or finding the visible text, or contains and visible text. Okay, chained XPath, or using normalize hyphen space. Okay, so these are all the different things that you have to practice. Okay, because if you know how to identify an element using XPath, almost 50% of the Selenium, your job is done if you can identify an element correctly. Okay, any questions? Okay, here I gave you like only these ones, some examples here, like um, two forward slashes, tag name, and then at the rate attribute name is equal to attribute value. And then you can also use and condition, and you can also use or condition. Okay, let me put this example in this one so that, okay, you can let me copy this one, and I'm just pasting it here so that it will be easy for you to refer to this one. Okay, I'm putting this one here.
So,
Yeah,
if you don't mind, actually, how you have showed this example with the local host, the practice one.
yeah,
Can we be able to quickly go and a new Chrome driver and open a Google homepage and how we can inspect a
sure,
Google search bar element
sure.
just to get a quick idea,
Yeah,
in a
yeah.
different way
I'll
as
show
well.
you that one. The reason why I
Yeah.
gave you, this practice pages,
Mm,
okay, in the
mm,
real time, I mean, in the real sites, I may not be able to find like, all these ones. Okay, that's why
yeah, yeah,
I
true, true.
created some examples here. Okay, okay.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, let me go to this one. Okay, let me go to Google. Okay,
Thank you, thank you.
google.com. Okay, let's say
Mm,
I would like to identify this this tag, and I would like to enter something like Selenium. Okay, tutorials.
yeah.
Okay, Selenium tutorials. Okay, we have to come this. Okay, let's see this one. Let's go to this one. Okay, let me create a new script here.
Mhm.
New class Google example. Okay, public static void main I am using, and then I'm finishing this one, and I'm just like copying these four things from here to here.
To open up a page at
Yeah,
Chrome and
yeah,
open the Google.
yeah. Okay, so I have, okay, let me, instead of this one, let me give http colon www.google.com. Okay, now
Yeah.
I will open a page here. Now I would like to get this let me identify this one, let me inspect this one. Once I go here, okay, this is the one that it is showing. So let us see the properties that it has. It has a class property, it has something like just section, but we don't generally use this one. But whenever it comes with like some these special symbols, we don't generally use them. It's okay. We have a name property here. Name is Q.
Okay.
Okay,
Mm,
and then type area hyphen something, area hyphen something, auto complete. Okay, these are all the different attributes that we have. Title property we have, so we can use like title property as well. Okay, and then area hyphen
mm,
label we have, we can use that also. Okay, and
mm.
anything like that comes with these like numbers and letters, generally they are like random values, so we don't go with them.
Okay.
That hyphen with like
Mm,
something like this. Okay, we don't go with. So let's use this name property, name hyphen q, name is equal to q.
mm,
Okay,
mm.
so let me write an XPath for this one. Control F, two forward slashes input, because this is an input tag, right? Okay,
Mm.
okay, two forward slash input, and let us use name. Okay, and shift at the rate name equals to q. Okay, so we got this one,
Mm.
one of one. We got it. Okay, so let's use this one. The name is equal to q. Okay, so driver dot find the element by dot XPath. Okay, dot send keys of, okay, Selenium tutorial something. Okay, we are entering. Okay, we are entering this one something into this. Okay, now
Mm.
let's manually enter this one and see what is happening. If I enter Selenium, okay, tutorial, okay, it is showing me a drop down list here.
Mm.
Something, it's showing me some results. here, like, it is giving some suggestions, like, for the keywords that we are entering. Because of this, what happens is, okay, let's identify this one. Let's identify this one. And then once we enter Selenium tutorials, we have to click on this Google search button, right? Okay, so now if I see, I'm inspecting this one. Okay, once I inspect this one, I'm coming here. So input, this is an input element. Okay, and then we have
Name
the
equal to
name
BTN.
equal to BT and K we have. Okay, so instead of Q, like this is an input element only, so I'll use BT and K. Okay, but if you see, it has two elements here, one of two, right?
Yeah.
And the first one is not the right one because it is not identifying this element. Okay, if I press it one more time, then it is identifying, then it is highlighting that element, right? That means
So we
it's
have to go
two of two.
index.
Yeah, so now we have to go for index. So the second element we have to go. So I'll just put it in brackets here, and then in square brackets I'm putting it 2. Okay, so now I'm taking this one. We have a lot more to practice actually. Okay, so this is the basic ones, like I'm showing it on the practice page to find like how the elements, but you have that sample site installed, right? So we can use that sample site also. Yeah, car rental. Okay, we can use that to practice like much more actually. Okay, so now driver.find element by.xbox, I have identified that one, and since this is a button, we have to use click method. Okay, CLS click. Okay, but there will be a problem here. The problem is whenever we are entering this element, these keywords into the search box. Okay, this search box, let me close this one and then I'll show. Okay, see, whenever I'm entering, okay, it shows me the suggestions here. Because of this, what happens is this element won't be visible.
It won't be highlighted unless you select something.
Yeah, so what happens here is it throws an error here. Okay, run as Java application. Okay, of course, like it immediately like came out actually. But let me show you. Let me give you some thread.sleep 1000. Okay, because it didn't give time like to fetch the values from the server, the suggestions. That's why it immediately like clicked on button. Okay, but if sometimes like what happens is if the internet is like very fast, okay, so it will show you the suggestions, then it won't be able to click that OK button. See, now it cannot click that one. It cannot click that OK button because it is not visible, because it is hidden under this suggestions drop down. Got it?
Okay.
So what happens in this case is, see, it threw an error here. Okay, and the error is element click intercepted exception. Okay, this element click. Okay, this is this element click intercepted exception. Okay, that means it is not able to click this element. This is intercepted. Element click intercepted. Element click is, you understand here? So in those cases, we have something called, we can mimic the keyboard events. For example, it is there like this. Okay, how can I remove this these suggestions? I can use escape key, right? If I on my keyboard key, if I use escape, that will go away, right?
Yeah.
So see, now it is showing. I'm clicking on the escape key. Escape key. It is going away. Okay. So the same thing will mimic here. So here, what we'll say is like driver dot, again the same thing. Okay, I'll use the same thing here. Control V dot send keys. Okay, instead of sending like anything like this, I'll say I have something called like keys keys class, keys dot escape. Okay, this one like we'll come to this at a later point, but I'm just showing you. Okay, so once it enters this one, it shows like all the suggestions. Then it will press the escape key. Okay, once the escape key is pressed, it will go away and then it will click on this button. Okay, let me put this like sleep after this escape also. Okay, then you will see it correctly. Now if I run this one, it entered and now it pressed the escape key, so it is able to click on the Google search button. Got it?
Got it. Thank you.
But we have something like these keys and all those things. We will see it in future chapters. And moreover, like if I use these real-time examples, I may not be able to show you like all these things.
All possible XPath.
Yeah, because I may not be like
Yes.
finding them like on the I have to like search for multiple uh, multiple web pages to find out like all these things. That's why I have created a, one for you so that you can practice all these things. Okay, so I have pasted this example also here. Okay, now just go through this one. You have to practice because some questions they will definitely ask you. Okay, let me tell you like my experience in my previous company where I was interviewing like some few of the guys, like because the demand was very high for automation engineers at that time, and it was like all the candidates that they are coming, they don't have like that minimum knowledge even in Java or in Selenium. Whatever the topics and the interview questions that I gave you, those are the ones. If you prepare those, that should be enough. Okay, people like really doesn't have that much knowledge at all in Java. Whatever the topics that I told you, they won't be having that much knowledge. People whoever like they're coming, so whatever the topics that I taught you, like that should be enough for you. Just prepare like all those things clearly. Okay, because okay, and at that time the demand was very high. Okay, and we were interviewing like a lot of cases. The first round of interview I was taking it, and the second round of interview, like my senior technical manager, he was taking that second round of interview. Okay, the first round of interview itself, like 90% of the people I was rejecting because they didn't have that minimum knowledge and they are unable to tell like how to write these different ways of express. The normal ones that I ask is how to use like following the siblings. I will give them some example and I will ask them, okay, how do you write an XPath for this one? Okay, they are not able to write XPaths at all. Okay, uh, so almost like 90% of the people I used to reject them because they don't have this minimum knowledge also. Basic writing XPaths, that minimum knowledge also they don't have it. So you have to practice like all these ways of writing XPaths. How do you write a normal XPath? How do you use a parent-child relationship? How do you find a parent? Okay, or how do you find a following sibling? How do you find a preceding sibling? Okay, how do you find it with exact text match, with contains and text match? How do you use like chained XPath? So these things like you have to learn. Okay, so these are all the different ways, like almost like how many ways are there? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16 17. Okay, if you know these 17 ways, okay, almost 50% of your Selenium is done because everything is with identifying the elements only. Okay, so just practice all these things clearly. Okay, tomorrow we will go with like again I will explain you one more thing, this XPaths. Okay, and we will go with CSS selectors. Okay, and I think like after this one we have okay, using first 5 this is completed and using XPath. Yeah, so after this we have the interview questions, but like whatever we are discussing in the class, they only come as interview questions. Okay, but I have written those interview questions also, so you can practice those. Okay, any questions on this one so far? Just practice like all these 17 ways of different ways of like and I gave you this one also, right? The sample page also I gave you. Okay, using that one, just practice this. this sample page. I have given like how to use for chained XPath. Like I have given an example for using exact partial text match, exact or using normalized text match, and also finding siblings. How to find siblings? Like there is an how to find parent element, how to find ancestor element. There is one example here. Okay, and the example identifying like for example siblings. Like you can use this one also, first, second, third, fourth. So these are, and using attributes and all those things like contains and starts with, you can use. Okay, text box with multiple classes. Okay, we have this multiple classes also, we have something. Okay, so here like you can use contains keyword, and the class attribute you can use this one. Okay, so there are like different examples. So practice all those 17 ways of creating XPaths. Okay, this is very important for interview purpose also. They will definitely ask you this one. Okay, understand guys? Any questions?
No, sir.
Okay,
All good, sir. Thank you.
okay, yeah, just practice this one and we'll see tomorrow. Tomorrow like I will explain you like one more time this one, and we will go with the CSS selectors. Okay, so if you know this element identification, I'm telling you 50% of job is done. Okay, but you have to write like you have to learn these identifying the elements clearly. Okay, yeah, fine. Okay, then I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Subbu.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Subbu.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.